starts to move up, especially if you're operating at FCS. And there's many dialogues, and I actually did an exhaustive study about the ability to move up to the FBS level. A very enormous, a lot of information in terms of, and the difficulty of making such a move. NCAA Division III is the least common in terms of HBCU athletic programs, and that's going to start to change with the fact that you just had Spelman as a Division I women program dissolve their athletic programs, and the fact that they're going to a more health and wellness issue. We just seen the issue in terms of Paul Quinn not too long ago canceling their football program because of the cost associated with it. And what does that mean? And a lot of people do those programs, and there are multiple facets in terms of why you would offer a football program. Many presidents have looked at the fact that it will bring in more male students, but then you also have to look at the question in terms of the quality of your students that are coming in. So it is a multifaceted question that we need to really look at and examine when we look at the focus of education with regards to sports, particularly for African American. At 56 HBCUs have football programs, 35 are public universities, and 21 are private. You start to looking at the 35. Now, while most of these public institutions are in states where you cannot have direct funds associated with your athletic programs, you have the issue again that you tend to have larger enrollments with the public costs associated with it, and the fact that you have a larger amount of money associated from students using their student fees to pay for these programs. And you look at research question 4, you have 22 NCAA Division I's programs that have football programs, 25 NCAA Division II's that have programs, 3 NAIA have football programs, and 4 at the junior college level that have football programs. When you look at the 22, there are actually 24 institutions that play NCAA at the Division I level. Maryland Eastern Shore and Coppin State do not have football programs, even though they have started club-level football programs. Research question 5, the following one, in terms of larger HBCUs, you fund more athletic sports than smaller HBCUs in terms of the costs associated with it, which could be simply looked at in terms of what makes sense. Conclusion, the results reveal that the percentage of athletic programs offering specific sports, as well as significant difference between programs based on the athletic programs, operating membership, in which the athletic program is an operating member institution. Obviously, at the NCAA Division I, the NCAA Division I requires that you offer so many sports versus Division II, so you also have the cost containment in there, but you have rule governance that require it. But if you're operating at the same revenue level as a Division II program, then you know if you're operating more sports, then per sport, you're providing less revenue for those sports, and then you wonder why the win-loss percentage may be not where you want it in terms of a fan. So when you start asking these questions as researchers or as students or as common alumni, when you want to understand or ask the question, you know what type of questions to ask your coaches, your athletic director, and your president, as well as your board, that are very educated in terms of what you want to go for your institution and how you want to operate and how you want to be seen in this landscape, and does it really make sense when they're providing you feedback and you can understand or articulate whether they're telling you the truth or not. So finally, based on these athletic programs operating memberships in which the athletic program is an operating member institution, the status of the university, such as public or private, and the university size has the most significance in terms of what sports are offered and how many sports are offered. So that'll do it in terms of the HBCU Story Symposium and the project I have here. Again, I'm sent on behalf of Texas Southern University, as well as the state of Texas with Prairie View A&M University as a student and alumni both. It gives me great pride to come here to Nashville to be a part of this symposium and provide a different perspective in terms of what the lenses look at for sports. And I'll do it in terms of the home of champions and the 2013 SWAC champions. With the reference, thought I'd get some laughter out of that and let you know. Thank you for your time. And again, after the presentation, I'm welcome for questions here or later.
I want to thank the good doctor. And,
thank you very much.
How long, Dr. El Hadid, I saw the TSU now, and I was cheering, and he said Texas Southern, so I had to say, well, all right, we're going to cheer for Texas also.
Yeah, the real
right.
TSU?
Yes, yeah. Yeah. All right. You got to.
I think we'll wait until.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm basically going to echo what you pretty much
Can you stand up? Thank you.
I'm the son of HBCU athletic administrator. I coach myself. I've been in athletics for, I'm 37, I'd say about 34 years of my life. Wow. And the biggest thing that this man has brought in front of us is basically the lack of want of leadership from our HBCUs. There are issues that we have to deal with Title IX, match fund requirements, where if I bring in the sport here, I got to bring in equal number of sports and women, keep it equal and balanced. There's things that we got to deal with, but the first thing first is having presidents that identify that athletics is an important doorstep to your university, to your community. Two, having presidents that understand that they might not know everything about it. They might not be able to make the hire for the athletic director. And finding somebody that can. Even though, the good old buddy system is used in HBCUs, because as you can tell, there are a lot of retreats in HBCU athletics. You don't get a lot of guys coming from D1, coming back down to D1 to play D2, want to continue to recruit. You get a lot of the retreads that people have already. My man probably knows about John Cole, who was the name of my existence.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. So it's kind of like, as HBCUs, we spin our wheels because we're not progressive enough to see that the University of Michigan, the University of Tennessee, even recently and within the past 2 years, Vanderbilt University used their athletic program in a method that brings in other things. And most HBCU presidents, most HBCU athletic directors won't see that. They don't go out actively to promote their program. We have, like you said, we have bad media, we have bad marketing. Why is it? Because we think the only people we need to market to is our own, to our alumni. No. Everybody likes the game of football. Everybody likes the game of basketball. We got people here that love soccer. Put it out there for everybody. Then we need to go out and find, I won't even say young coaches, but coaches that actually care about the school. But a lot of these coaches, like my man Paul Quinn said about the presidency, I'm not here thinking about this school. I'm here thinking about my next guy. I'm using this as a stepping stone to get to a D1 program. Director of football operations, director of basketball operations. They're looking at that. Whereas those people in those DFOs, in a Division I level job, they're looking to rise up to the head coach of their or their athletic director at that school, period. We don't have a lot of career-minded people on the HBCU level. And then it makes us suffer, it makes us look bad when there's a big turnover, when there's academic scandals on our campus, when we got kids that cannot meet the grade or don't want to meet the grade because this guy is going out recruiting kids just because football only.
Let me ask you: is there a question in there?
I'm sorry. I just said I have a bad thing. I'll just piggyback.
Okay. Well, if I might, let me.
I'll stop that.
So what you said. Let me ask this question. And I was thinking about this.
Sure.
Talking about coaches and retreading. Tyrone Willingham, who coached at Notre Dame and coached at Washington, and I think is out of coaching now. Would an HBCU football program benefit from a Tyrone Willingham coaching at one of our schools, with the understanding that he may not ever get back up to the FBS level, but he might be able to get a great team started at an HBCU and allow those players to then enter into the league because of the level of play they have? I'm thinking about how Watson Brown coached at Vanderbilt, but then left and now is coaching at Tennessee Tech. Right. So would a Tyrone Willingham type coach who maybe had a bad experience at that high level and now can coach at an HBCU, to your point about retreading of coaches, would an HBCU benefit from a coach like that?
Obviously, from the front part, in terms of the marketing component, there are a lot of marketing things you could do with a Tyrone Willingham. But when I go into my coaching searches, and I've as a consultant, help some of the presidents or athletic directors. One thing that I look at is the roundness of the person. And do they have an understanding of the HBCU mission? If there's some type of connection they have in terms of understanding particularly what's going on. But one thing I will say about Tyrone is he obviously has the experience that is different. And oftentimes that experience that is different allows you to bring in new ideas. But you have to make sure that he understands and is comfortable with the culture and mission of the institution, particularly HBCU. But that would really be true for any institution.
Okay. Yeah, and I was thinking on the lines of the fact that he'd come back and wouldn't, of course, expect the salary of Notre Dame or Washington, but also with that notoriety might bring him back.
Right. I was going to tie in that example of that is Mike Davis that coached in the final game of the Final Four. And because CSU made a commitment in terms of athletics and obviously didn't pay him at the highest level, but did pay him as now one of the most well-paid coaches in basketball at the HBCU level. But the bigger component that really allowed him comfortable with the area is what they did with the facilities.
Okay.
And money associated with running an athletic program and giving him the opportunity to believe that he could win not only within the conference but outside of the conference.
Okay.
So a lot of those are the components when I say outside of him feeling comfortable that there are some restraints, but you're going to have to step it up in terms of financially meeting him kind of halfway, whichever coach that is with that background. Great question.
Dr. El Hadid.
I'm doing well. Pleasure to meet you at lunch.
Let me just do this.
Please.
There are two Franklin schools in state.
Yes.
Tennessee State University was taking the land grant.
Yes.
Coming out of the construction. University of Tennessee taking the 62 land grant from the Civil War. UT is the SEC. Tennessee State is the OVC.
That's right.
Now, how did Tennessee State get an OVC? It happened during a time when legal mandate on the stipulated settlement, and it said that TSU must become half white by 1930.
Yes.
So we were forced into the OVC. Now the problem with being in the OVC is that these OVC teams, whenever they come play us, they don't bring a band, they don't bring a band. They just pick up money at the gate and leave, right? And once we got an OVC, most of the games that we played for homecoming were white teams, right? So the thing that I think we need to look at in Tennessee State, maybe you can do a comment, is looking at should we stay in the OVC or should we go on the SWAC? Because when we play other HBCUs, it's like a family reunion, whether you win or lose.
Right.
There's still some camaraderie there, and Texas Southern's gonna bring a band, FAMU's gonna bring a band, but we still don't bring. So they don't bring the culture. They just bring an athletic contest, they get the money, and they vote. And then that way that helps them with their affirmative action issues.
Yes.
If Tennessee State did not know what we said, Tennessee State will not benefit from the OVC experience. A final point, we talked about Dr. Gore. When he transitioned Tennessee State from college to the university, created those colleges,
Yes.
his vision was to staff Tennessee State with scholars on faculty and win an athletic program. And that's the character of your land-grant schools, whether you're talking about Ohio State or UT. Land-grant schools have a winning athletic program. Tennessee State is not in that category, so you can comment now.
Sure. Well, first, I'll look at it from a historical perspective when you talk about the fact one of the classes I developed at Texas Southern and part of in regards to the Sports Studies and Leadership program was a class that looked at particularly the history of HBCUs and the African diaspora in general. When you first look at the connection of HBCUs and African Americans playing sports in the community, one of the first things you see is that the athlete was just as much as an academician in terms of a scholar as he was an athlete on the field. We've got away from that. So that's one connection that we need to get back to. I also did a particular study that looked at the feasibility of HBCU, in terms of Tennessee State joining the SWAC. The way I look at it in terms of it is strictly in terms of the financial matter. Some people have a cultural lens to that and asking the question in terms of cultural identity, which is a very important question. Some people will look at it in terms of the competitiveness, which is also an important question. So you really need to get those lenses of different people together and collective and really trying to find out where is the foundation and where do you want to go, and can you find a way to get both of them at the same time. As a professor that looks at sports and business, one of my important questions I'd like to look at is from financial and economics, because that's what drives the bus. And I looked at it particularly from a study where we take business approaches to looking at athletics and sports, where you look at it from asking the question in terms of stability analysis. And you go through this formal question review of asking these tough questions and getting key economic and financial data to get to an input to answer the question at the end, whether you should be there. And some of the composites you answer in that is from a cultural relevance to how well you do in terms of competition. And when you bridge those together, you'll get the end of the question. From a member of the SWAC at Texas Southern University, to be honest with you, I'll be up front. I'm greedy. Tennessee brings so much to the table in terms of academicians. I would like to see them from an academic standing at being in the conference because of that. But one thing I don't think we do very well in the SWAC is bridging the gap between athletics and academics and understanding how do we build our culture. If you really look at analysis of the SEC, and I'll stop here because I could go forever and we'll talk about outside, and ACC and the Big Ten and the Pac-12, one of the key strategics they do in terms of financing their programs is looking what do they do with academics on the back of that. And 70% of the programs that generate all that money, we know, are football and basketball, which is television dollars, and all those players are African Americans. And the graduation rate shows you that they're not doing the job they're supposed to. So it's very empowering to me, and as you see the passion I have for it, is to make sure that we have these conversations, because we talk about these educational issues, and I'm foundation in that, but I understand the business, and now I understand the sports, and I try to make the connection between the three. Thank you.
So your answer was yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I want you. Okay. I think it's a different question when you look at it culture
and if I can expand, I think what you're saying, though, that it would add to the academic prowess of Tennessee State because the dollars generated would then help drive some academic programs also.
Yes. If there's no question about it. If you focus on the academic side and you're talking about the fact that you have Jackson State and Tennessee State as Tier 1 institutions, and as they say, those tides that raise the ship. Mm-hmm. Now you start to shift that from Texas Southern University, and Prairie View, and next the other ones in terms of building up the academician side and the research dollars. Right. That's where the money is the research dollars. Okay. Now you can start to transition and you get those education, as President Sorrell talked about, educating the people from the ground up. Now you can start to do that from an economic standpoint and understanding how do you change the nation.
All right.
I understand. Yes. Yes.
Now, you're saying we'd be better off in SWAC than in OBC?
Financially, from the study I did, it did show a financial impact that created that you would generate more money from the dollars of restructuring. Now, there's a caveat to that we need to make sure that the commissioner does his due diligence and the presidents understand how do you start really connecting the economic and financial dollars. Because my study connected those dots. I'm not sure if they're connecting all those dots to leverage what you could get in terms of the money generated there, which then is going to come back and make you have a competitive team. Because now, as you talk about those coaches, you can hire better coaches, you can hire more coaches because you have the financial willpower to do it. So that's the connection key, is that this is not just done in isolation, that we need to understand that whole spirit of what it means to run an athletic program. Right. At the institutional level and at the governance level.
Okay.
Well, of course, what it sounds like you're saying is not only are you benefiting financially, but you benefiting culturally and academically, because the cultural thing is obvious, right?
Yes.
Well, and the money drives everything.
And then the graduation rates
definitely
of athletes would be higher.
Yes.
Than OBC or SEC, right?
Part and parcel, yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
And it's a great segue to our next presenter, Ms. Elizabeth Clare Stewart, because she's going to talk about wellness. We want our athletes to be well, our coaches to be well, and our
Absolutely.
teachers to be well. Come on and present to us.
Hi, everyone. Pardon what seems to be my signals from the side. Not only am I associated with the Fisk HBCU Wellness Project, but I'm also the managing editor of HBCU Story. So I've been looking at the clock like, y'all better quit. And I know when it comes to sports conversations, there is no end. So they are fun, and I love to engage in them. I'm glad that the draft happened on April 25th. But I'm a football fan, but I'm not here to talk about that right now. Okay. I am here to talk to you about the where is the okay. There it is. The HBCU Wellness Project, and that is a community-based participatory research initiative for undergraduate students. Again, I am Elizabeth Clare Stewart, Community Coordinator for the program at Fisk University. Okay, I'm about to paint a very serious picture for you. I had to write down all this data to make sure that I shared it properly. In 2005, the state of Tennessee was ranked third highest in the nation for heart disease and stroke deaths. Okay, and this number increased 16 and 25% respectively in 2009. Okay, heart disease rates for African Americans in Tennessee were 323 per 100,000. And this number was, if I'm not mistaken, 3 times higher than those of white Americans. So what you have here is health disparities in Tennessee, according to the Tennessee Department of Health, Division of Minority Health and Disparities Elimination, alcohol and drug abuse, cardiovascular disease, cancer, specifically breast and prostate, violence, sexual, child, and domestic, infant mortality, and sexually transmitted infections, and ethnic specific diseases, specifically sickle cell, have the greatest impact on minorities' health in the state of Tennessee. So those in bold are the areas that the student health ambassadors with the HBCU Wellness Project tackle. Okay, I want to do this right now before she gets all crazy on me. I have a student in here. Her name is Candace Jones. She is a senior sociology major, and she did her project on prostate cancer, specifically Men's Health Matters. And I would like her to stand up just because I can do that. I am not a fan of this microphone. Okay, the HBCU Wellness Project is simply, our guiding statement is wellness for our community and fitness for our future. The HBCU Wellness Project began as a plan written on a napkin by Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice, who was then the dean of the School of Medicine at Mahir Medical College. Okay, the project objectives are there in front of you, but I have 2 favorites. The bottom, develop and maintain a pipeline of students of color interested in entering the health professions workforce, and to conduct needs assessments for local communities and campuses. The participating institutions, the program started off in 2006 with the 5 private HBCUs in the state of Tennessee, and then Tennessee State University, our one public land grant institution, was added in 2010. Community-based participatory research is a collaborative approach to research that equitably involves all partners in research processes and recognizes the unique strengths that each brings, specifically those unique strengths of the community, whatever that community may be defined as be, whether it be a geographic area or a church or something like that. The CBPR begins with topics of importance there to a community and has the aim of combining knowledge with action and achieving social change to improve health outcomes and eliminate disparities. And now you will hear in much research that CBPR, or community-based participatory research, is one of those buzzwords. And research agencies and funding institutions like to hear that, and they are quick to give dollars to those who seem to do that well, okay? Okay, our student health ambassadors are full-time students enrolled in one of the participating institutions. In their key roles, they are health promotion and disease prevention advocates. They are change agents who work in the community and with their partners and residents. And SHAs are trained through a summer institute and with their community partners to investigate key health community issues through study. The requirements, I can talk specifically about Fisk University. The requirements are a minimum 2.5 GPA. They must complete an application, and this application includes an essay. Students must be a second semester freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and we also have graduate students in our program at Fisk. All majors are welcome, but the majority of our majors are those who are in the natural and social sciences. But we have had an English and a business major who did a great project that I think should have won an award when she talked about the cost effectiveness of good health. Okay, so student research. Students implement their projects in either breast cancer, infant mortality, obesity, which includes those cardiovascular diseases, prostate cancer, and sexually transmitted infections. Students use the community-based participatory research model to partner with those community organizations. And this isn't just students designing a project and implementing it. Students have to submit their research protocol to the IRB. And with their research protocol, of course, is the executive summary, their purpose, their background, expected outcomes, including their questionnaires and all media that they will use to advertise their project. So students have the opportunity to be a primary investigator and a first author on their own research. Okay? An example, student projects, infant mortality specifically. I love the Infant Mortality Initiative. The Infant Mortality Initiative we're partnering with the Office of Minority Health, and students who are in this, they become trained PPEs, which are preconception peer educators. And there are 4 programs with the Office of Minority Health, and those programs are the Midnight Spa, the Baby Shower, a barbershop talk, and a baby's first birthday. Okay, and then prostate cancer, we had, of course, Candace Jones implement the Men's Health Matters in conjunction with the Men's Health Coalition of Middle Tennessee. And one of these young ladies right here, she was responsible for implementing the Red Ribbon Affair, which was our World AIDS Day initiative, partnering with a local organization here called Women, Catherine Wyatt Morley, and she was responsible for talking to them about HIV/AIDS in the Black community. This is just a list of our community partners. And of course, there are great benefits to being in this. Campus meetings, we hold meetings twice a month with our students. At Fisk, we host them on Wednesdays from 12 to 1 in the Gold Room of Jubilee Hall. These meetings are conducted by myself or my staff partner. We do some student development. We teach them how to do technical writing, abstract writing. We have also had recruiters from graduate institutions come and talk to them as well. Internships and fellowships. It is our goal with the Fisk HBCU Wellness Project to ensure that 100% of the students participating have an internship. In the past, we've had students work with HCA, Baylor College of Dentistry, Birthing Project USA, Penn State Hershey College of Medicine, University of Wisconsin at Madison, and most recently, we've had a student who was going to go to Johns Hopkins to do maternal and child health initiative there with the Kennedy Krieger Institute. Students have the opportunity to take advantage of 2 specific trainings. The first, again, is the PPE program with the Office of Minority Health.
The library closes in 20 minutes. If you have any books or other materials that need to be checked off,
I don't want to talk about it.
or library card, please make your way to the return desk on the first floor. Thank you.
Okay, and the other training that they can receive is from Nashville Cares, where students become a certified HIV/AIDS tester and counselor. And students who are involved in this project have the opportunity to implement testing and counseling in local community events. All right, and we also, well, I like to push this, as the students will tell you, students are responsible to not only design and implement their project, but also present their work. Okay, so students have gone to Xavier College of Pharmacy Health Disparities Conference, Beta Kappa Chi National Institute of Science Annual Joint Meeting, where we had students place 2nd and 3rd place in the health science education category. The Digital Media Conference, Fisk Research Symposium, and of course, the HBCU Wellness Spring Symposium. Boom, boom. Any questions? Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Right.
Okay, can you restate that a little more succinct? Yes, because the idea is to, one, for me, I like to see increase the number of minority students in the health professions workforce. And again, students have the opportunity, whether they choose to pursue a health career or not, they have the opportunity to be a primary investigator on a research project, which unfortunately doesn't happen very often for many students at black colleges. And then, if they have the right staff working with them, they will present at conferences, and hopefully I'll get one of my students to finish something so I can get them published in one of these journals. So, while I appreciate I love what Spelman has done, that model isn't exactly the same, but this could work at any institution that is committed to developing their students, which all HBCUs are. Any more questions? Yes, ma'am. Okay, stand up and speak a little louder. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's at Fisk University we do the informed consent, which allows us to do a follow-up contact with those who participate. So while there is, after the health project or health initiative is done, we do, of course, a pre and a post questionnaire. And then I prefer for the students to do a follow-up questionnaire since we have their contact information and it is allowed by the IRB, the students are allowed to do that. So, yes. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Meharry Medical College is the umbrella for the program. The program was implemented in 2006 at the 5 private HBCUs in the state of Tennessee. And then recently in 2010, Tennessee State University was added. So it's funded through the Office of Minority. I know Reverend Love wants to get up here. You want to? Yes, go ahead.
The program is funded by the state of Tennessee through the Department of Health. And yeah, well,
yeah.
The Legislative Black Caucus submits a request every year.
Oh, okay.
It started out with $2 million in 2006 and was funded for 4 years at $2 million, and last year at $800,000. This year I submitted the amendment for $2 million, and the funding was cut again to $500,000. So the governance piece is that it's a non-recurring item in the budget, and every year has to go back and be submitted for approval. And that really is what drives the staff and the students' possibility of carrying the program on every year. There's a report that has to be given, of course, to the state of Tennessee to tell what has happened with the money, but that's the governance piece right there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for standing. Okay, go blue. I can't speak for Tennessee State University because I work specifically with Fisk University. Yes. But I'm sure, Terica, now actually I hate to do this, but Terica Sampson has worked with the project at Tennessee State University.
Hey.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
I was talking specifically about Fisk University, but Reverend Love, who is a former campus coordinator for that, can tell you about Tennessee State.
I ran the program for 2 years, and it was in service learning for 1 year, and agriculture the next year. Now it's under student affairs. And the goal of it going to Tennessee State was for it to be a demonstration project of how public institutions would benefit from it, and not just HBCUs, which would give us the ability to go across all 95 counties in the state and secure more funding from the state by validating that it would be a statewide initiative and not just a one germane to HBCUs. That's how.
At Meharry Medical College? Yes, they are. Most of the students from Meharry Medical College, I know this because I've actually worked with some of the students. Most of the students at Meharry Medical College work in the Infant Mortality Initiative specifically, and they partner with the Metro Public Health Department, Bureau of Family, Youth, and Infant Health with Dr. Kimberly Weish Etheridge. Any more questions? Is there one? No? All right. We're done. Reverend Love, please come dismiss us.
We want to thank our panelists for this. Yes, let's give them a hand. For this wonderful opportunity to talk about sports. And I've learned a lot. I certainly did learn a lot about why our HBCUs aren't competing at that top tier level. I didn't realize that the cost was so high to be involved in it, but also about our wellness initiatives. And let me suggest this to you as you go from here. Think of innovative ways to...
Attention, please. The library closes in
10 minutes. All right.
If you have any books or other materials that need to be checked out, please make your way to the return desk on the first floor. Thank you.
Look for innovative ways for us to find opportunities to get funding for our wellness projects or our other projects that may benefit our student body in general. All right, and I think that is it. We'll stand and prepare to dismiss. That's my pastoral side coming out of me. All right, repeat the miss, Pa.